The year is 1989, and as the Soviet Union crumbles, Francis Fukuyama declares the end of history. Capitalism and liberal democracy have won. 30 years on, and the most frequent question Fukuyama is asked is this.
But it didn't end, did it? Well...
Let's find out what Fukuyama meant by the end of history. Back in the 19th century, Hegel saw the progression of history as a conflict between ideas, a dialectic. Imagine you're talking to a friend in the pub. He's got a pretty good idea, but you've got an even better idea. So you use your reason to argue about it. And as you do, your idea may change and get better. So whichever idea wins will be changed, new and improved. This is a dialectical argument, a thesis, an antithesis, and a synthesis. Hegel saw all of history as a series of dialectical arguments. It is republicanism versus imperialism, monarchy versus democracy, fascism versus communism, and so on. Hegel thought history was building up to an endpoint. While his endpoint was the pre-Bismarckian Prussian state, who influenced a lot of people with this idea. Back to the future, the Soviet Union has collapsed. For Fukuyama, this was the last true alternative to liberal democracy and capitalism. Thus, in The End of History and The Last Man, he argues that capitalism and liberal democracy is the vanguard of human ideological evolution. So why capitalism? Fukuyama saw the capitalist market mechanism as the best system we have to satisfy people's desires. No famine has ever taken place in a functioning capitalist democracy. For Fukuyama, desire and personal worth are fundamental qualities of the human condition. We desire to compete, to be valued, to have self-worth and recognition, and capitalism gives us the freedom to pursue that. The pursuit of desire is not the only thing we need. We need the rule of law, rights, fairness. Human beings must have fundamental recognition and dignity. This is why liberal democracy. Recognizing everyone as equal means we refrain from seeking the political domination of others. Liberal democracy is great at governing over diversity. It gives some minority groups rights and a political voice. If two people have different opinions in a democracy, they can discuss and vote on it, instead of trying to oppress and destroy each other. Liberal democracy isn't perfect, but Fukuyama believes no other political structure can provide citizens with the levels of wealth and personal liberties that liberal democracy can. So has history ended? With all that's happening in the world, many people are wondering if capitalism is the best way to satisfy desires or protect freedoms and prosper, or if liberal democracy has passed its sell-by date. We seem now more polarized than ever, a far cry from having completed our ideological evolution. Even Fukuyama himself argues that the fight for liberal democracy is needed now more than ever, suggesting that our ideological struggle has not finished. Even if he is right, and liberal democracy does end up being at the end of history, how much will it change the dialectical process from what we have now? Will we even recognize the end of history when we see it? Hegel thought he did and didn't. Marx probably didn't. I for one can't imagine what it would look like.
Can you?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I mean, it's my chance.